The calendar said summer. The fields should have been golden. The air should have carried warmth. Instead, frost covered the ground. Farmers stepped into their fields expecting sunlight on their faces, but found ice clinging to their crops. In parts of North America, snow began to fall in the middle of June. Rivers froze where they had never frozen before. Livestock shivered. Birds fell strangely silent. Across Europe the sun hung weak and pale, as if seen through smoke. The sky was not blue. It was a dull, endless grey that lingered day after day, week after week. Children woke to snow in places that had never seen snow in June. Crops withered beneath sunless skies. Entire communities stood still, waiting for warmth that never arrived. And, across the Northern Hemisphere, people began to whisper, "Has the sun abandoned us? Is something wrong with the sky?" This was not a local storm, not a passing cold front, not a bad harvest. This was a global catastrophe. A year when nature itself shifted. A year when the world lost its summer. History would remember it as year without a summer. April 1815. The Indonesian archipelago. Without warning, the earth trembled violently beneath the island of Sumbawa. A mountain exploded. Its name was Mount Tambora. The eruption was so powerful it reduced the height of the mountain by more than 1,300 meters. Ash columns shot over 40 kilometers into the sky. The sound was heard over 2,000 kilometers away. Entire villages were buried under volcanic debris. An estimated 60,000 to 100,000 people would eventually die due to the eruption and its aftermath. But Tambora's greatest destruction was invisible. It injected millions of tons of sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere, high enough that rainfall could not wash it away. The sky itself had been altered. Once in the stratosphere, sulfur gases formed tiny reflective particles called aerosols. These particles spread around the globe within months. They acted like a mirror, reflecting sunlight back into space. Global temperatures dropped roughly 0.4 to 0.7 degrees Celsius. That number seems small, but when the entire Earth cools even slightly, weather systems destabilize, monsoons shift, jet streams bend, storms intensify. The balance of nature was disturbed. Witnesses described sunsets unlike anything they had ever seen. Brilliant red skies, purple horizons, a dim, ghostly sun. Painters of the time unknowingly captured this atmospheric distortion in their artwork. In London and Paris, people noticed the light felt weaker, softer, filtered, unnatural. No one connected it to a volcano on the other side of the planet. They simply felt that something was wrong. In New England, frost struck on June 6, 1816. Farmers replanted crops, only to lose them again. In July, snow fell in parts of New York and Maine. Corn harvests failed almost completely. Oats and wheat suffered severe damage. Livestock starved. Because hay could not grow properly. The phrase 1800 and froze to death became common in America. It was not exaggeration. Across Europe, relentless cold rain fell for weeks at a time. Fields flooded. Seeds rotted in the soil. Bread prices doubled, then tripled. Food riots erupted in England, France, and Germany. Desperate families mixed sawdust with flour just to create something resembling bread. In Switzerland, people faced near-famine conditions. Storms trapped entire communities indoors. The poorest suffered first, then the middle class, then everyone. Malnutrition weakened immune systems. Typhus spread rapidly through crowded towns. In Ireland, economic pressure deepened long-term poverty. In parts of Germany, thousands abandoned their farms and migrated toward Russia and Eastern Europe. In Asia, Altered monsoon cycles disrupted rice production. In India, famine conditions contributed to the spread of cholera, which would later become a global pandemic. The year without a summer was not just a weather event, it was a humanitarian crisis. In Switzerland, near Lake Geneva, a small group of writers endured the cold, storm-filled summer trapped indoors. Among them was Mary Shelley. Rain fell almost daily. The sky remained dark and dramatic. To pass the time, they challenged each other to write ghost stories. From that competition emerged Frankenstein, a story about unnatural creation, a world shaped by lightning and darkness. Nature's wrath had influenced literature forever. With harvest failures came financial collapse. Grain prices skyrocketed. Wages did not rise to match. In some regions, families spent up to 80% of their income on food. Governments were unprepared. There were no climate models, no atmospheric chemistry studies, no international disaster response, just confusion and desperation. Science, we know. Today, modern scientists now classify Tambora as a VEI-7 eruption, one of the most powerful categories on the volcanic explosivity index. Ice core samples from Greenland and Antarctica preserve chemical evidence of the eruption. We can measure the sulfur spikes trapped in ancient ice. We understand now that volcanic aerosols can cool the planet temporarily. The year without a summer became one of the earliest documented cases of global climate disruption. It was a warning written in ash. A fragile civilization. The people of 1816 believed the sun had failed, but it was not the sun. It was the atmosphere. 1. Eruption in one remote location altered weather patterns across continents. It reshaped economies, triggered migration, inspired literature, spread disease, caused famine, all from a single volcanic event. It reminds us that civilization depends on stability, and stability is fragile. Today we speak of climate change, atmospheric chemistry and global systems. But in 1816, people only felt cold. They watched their children go hungry. They prayed for warmth. The year without a summer stands as one of history's clearest lessons. Human power is vast, but nature's power is greater. And sometimes the sky does not need to fall, it only needs to darken, and summer never comes.